All right. We just learned about one-point perspective, and one-point perspective was a way to draw things going back into the distance that uses 1 point. What we're going to learn today is two-point perspective. Two-point perspective starts off with a very obvious thing. We're going to use 2 dots. So we're going to put a dot here, and we're going to put a dot here. So step 1 is 2 dots. Okay, and they need to be kind of on an even plane. So if you look, this is what is called the horizon line. So this would be like at the beach. It would be that line where the sky meets the ocean. Or it's also called your sight, your view, line of sight. The line that you would see, like if you were standing up here, if you're standing up here, then you see the bottom of the top of the box. But if you were standing down here, then you would see the bottom of the box. So that is your line of sight, this right here is. So your dots need to be on your line of sight. Now I'm gonna go back until I get rid of those lovely arrows. In our line of sight, you don't have to draw that. So you've got your 2 dots. They're across from each other on the page, on the outermost area of the page. So we've got them here and we've got them here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to, hold on. All right, so you're going to draw your first line. So we're going to pretend this isn't here. Our first line that we draw is a vertical line, and all of the lines that you draw in this assignment will either go perpendicular to the side of the paper, which means it's going to go straight up and down. I don't need you to draw this line. I'm showing you that this line and this line are going the same direction. So all lines that you draw from here on out will, in this 2-point perspective, will either go straight up and down or they will go to a dot. So we'll get to that in a second. So right now we just drew our straight up and down line. Now, next thing that you're going to do to draw this box, and you can use it to draw cities, all kinds of stuff, is you're going to go from the top of the box to the dot. We're going to go to the bottom of the box to the dot. Then we're going to come over to this side, and we're going to go from the top of the box to the dot, and we're going to go from the bottom of the box to the dot. And I want you to make sure that you are using a ruler when you are doing this, because we're drawing straight lines. I'm doing it on an iPad. I can't use a ruler right here. So I'm asking you to make sure you use something straight to use a ruler, okay? It doesn't have to be a ruler, just something straight. So we have 2 going side to side. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the sides of our box. So they are going to go straight up and down, perpendicular to this side of the paper. And then over here, you're going to do, oops, somebody submitted something. You're going to go over here and you're going to go perpendicular to the sides of the paper. It doesn't matter where you put these lines. I'm putting mine because this is my sample, where the sample lines are. But I'm going to show you one in a minute without having the one sample one under it. And then here is the hardest part for people. You got to go from the top of the box over here to the opposite dot. All right, so you're going to go to the opposite dot, and then you're going to go from the top of this to the opposite dot. And then you will erase all of these lines. Erase, 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 erase. If I erase it, you still will see what's under it. So I'm showing you by marking them out. You don't mark them out. Don't mark them out. I'm just showing you what you would erase. So right now you have a box that is drawn in perfect 2-point perspective. So you have to make sure all your lines, you don't have to darken yours like what I'm doing right now. I'm just showing you so they stand out. All right, so you don't have to do that. You're going to draw a composition of 2-point perspective, and then you're going to Sharpie it, and then you're going to color it. So this is showing you how to do a 2-point perspective, and we had our sample under there. So now I'm going to show you one that is above our line of sight. So we got our line of sight. So I'm going to do one above it. I'm going to make a line perpendicular to the side of my paper over here. So it doesn't matter where it is. I'm starting it over there. And then I'm going to go from the top of my box to the dot. From the bottom of my box to the dot. Top of the box, use a ruler, dot, bottom of the box, dot. All right, so now I have the front side of my box that I am drawing. Now I can choose and say this side of this box is going to be really skinny. All right. Then I can choose that this side of my box is going to be really fat. See? And then since I am above the line of sight, then I'm going to see the bottom of my box on this one. Where I saw the top of the box on this one, I'm going to see the bottom of the box on this one. So I'm going to go from the bottom corner to the opposite dot across this way. This is just going to be a little skinny sliver because it's barely over the line of sight. So the farther you go above the line of sight, the more you will see the bottom or the top of the box. All right, so we've got there and there. So right now our box goes, I'm just drawing over the lines. So pretend I'm using a ruler. And so just so you can see how many lines you should have. We're using a ruler, and you don't have to do this drawing over them. I just wanted I want it to show up. All right, so right now we've got 2-point perspective. We have a box above the line of sight, and we got a box below the line of sight. Now I'm going to pull up this other one just because I want to show you something. I'm going to hide. I got to figure out how to hide that one without. This is my way. There we go. All right, so now we're pulling up this one that somebody else had drawn, and we're going to look at it. So we have the ones that are above our line of sight, you see the bottoms, like right here. And the ones that are below the line of sight, I see the tops. Now, what happens if our dots, I'm pretty sure we're like right here and right here. So this one, you can barely see the bottom of this one. You can barely see the bottom of this one. But this one was actually drawn on the line of sight. So I would start with my vertical line, and then I would go to the dot, and then I would go to the dot, and to the dot. And then I would draw my sides of my box. And we're going to pretend that Miss Nealon drew those straight like. All right, so here, and here. Now, because it's on my line of sight, you cannot see the bottom of the box and you cannot see the top of the box. So this shape right here is done. It is just the left side and the right side, and you don't see the bottom and you don't see the top. So you need to draw a picture kind of like this one. I would like for you to overlap one box at least. I need one box on the line of sight. And I need one box so you can see the bottom, so above the line of sight. And I need at least one box so you can see the top of the box, so it is below the line of sight. So these are your requirements number 1, requirement number 2, requirement number 3, and requirement number 4. Requirement number 5 is you need to have at least 5 boxes. So there's your 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you need at least 5 boxes, and you can do as many as you want to fill up the page. Completely up to you, but you do need 5 boxes. 1 has to show the bottom, 1 has to show a top, 1 has to be on the line of sight, and 1 needs to overlap. To overlap, you will draw, let me erase that. So you will draw this shape over top of this shape, and then you have to decide which one's on top. So I decided that this one right here was on top. So I need to erase where this line was back here. So I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to erase where this line was and where they meet. So I'm going to erase everything that was in this purple box so the blue box shows up on top of it. So that's our overlap. All right. So more work turned in. More work turned in. All right. So there you go. that is your instructions for this project. Then we are going to Sharpie it. And here's one that is not Sharpied, but it could be at the point where it could be Sharpied, but I just want to show you how complex you can get with 2-point perspective. And here is one that is not Sharpied. It should be Sharpied, but it was not. But it is 1-point perspective because I don't know why it's hidden. Okay. So, boop, hide that one. All right, so this one are all going vertical. This line is not vertical. It should have been going straight up and down. But all lines going vertical, same as the edge of the paper, or to the 2 dots, which were here. And actually, I think his dot was right there because it's right there. So they can be very complex like this. I wanted to show you this one for the color. So you need to, like the other ones, we did our bright colors at the ends of our things like this, and we colored them right here the darkest. On this project, we are going to color the heaviest and darkest at the line. Like right here, you can see where the line is, and then it's going to fade back that way and fade back that way. So the heaviest part of this one is right here, and then it's going to fade back that way, and it's going to fade back that way. So that is how you're going to color this project when we get to the coloring part. If you have any questions about what we are doing, please do not hesitate to contact me, and I will get you set up and doing it the right way. All right, let me see here.